What's going on? We're back here with some more CZN, and we're going to be going over the cards and equipment for this season, which are good, how some work. Do bear in mind I might have to make this video again because you know how it is with their translations. It might say this, then all of a sudden they do an update and now the card works like that. But yeah, we're just going to go over them and tell you guys how it works, if they're good, if you should use them. So first one we're going to get into is actually Spore Harvester. Spore Harvester is insane. As you guys probably know, if you've seen, you know, characters do big damage, this Spore Harvester with Contaminated Spore, of course, basically is insane. So once you exhaust it, you're going to create 2 Contaminated Spores, right? Or you could just retain and create 1 Contaminated Spore. But when you create it, if you just keep it in your hand, the Contaminated Spore is going to keep creating Contaminated Spores. So that's why, for example, someone like Beryl could really pop off with this because it has retain. So if Beryl has the Contaminated Spore in her deck, because it's going to fill up your hand eventually, and if you've got a whole bunch of opening founds on upgrade, she could literally do so many hits because you filled up your hand with retain cards. So yeah, and obviously applying them, then doing hits, they do stack, and they also work in a way, it's not one hit as well. So if you put a whole bunch of Spore Propagation on an enemy and you use a character that multi-hits, is gonna basically count for every hit that character does, you know what I'm saying, until it ends. So Spore Propagation just works really insanely, and yeah, it's just a very amazing card, and it costs nothing. And if you could get the good epiphanies where it says that it gives you AP and draw, that's the one I have. It is so freaking nice, bro. But yeah, amazing card, and I think it's definitely worth using on your runs if you want to give it to other characters, even if you're not building them, because you know, why not? You know, it could just make your DPS do more damage and make clearing tier 16s and stuff more easier. And I would say it's definitely worth putting on your support characters if you're gonna make builds for them, and even on some of your DPS character. Like one Spore Harvester and a DPS character ain't a bad idea, bro. You know, it just helps you do a lot more damage. And next one we're gonna get into is Nutrient Absorption. So this is another exhaust. Select and exhaust 1 card in hand. For each cost of that card, decrease cost of 1 random card in hand by 1 for 1 turn. So this is really nice as well. I've seen this in some character builds that are going, you know, crazy on the CZN Reddit. So this is not a bad card. I don't feel like I have to really explain what it does, right? It's kind of like, yeah, this one you could, you know, read and actually understand. But yeah, this is a really good card, and it's another one that costs 0. So it's nice. Now we got Residue Herb. So this one has Retrieve on it. It has exhaust free, and it gives you shield. And obviously an effect that is activated when this card is exhausted. So Incinerate. So once it's finally exhausted, it will create 1 Contaminated Spore, which, you know, is also something nice. And this works amazing with Ironclad, because you're getting more shields, because Ironclad's already going to give you a shield. This is going to give you a shield, but because of 9's upgrade, where it's like, yeah, obtain shield, and you get what's her thing called, the thing you get to buffer damage up, right? I think the card's called Counterblade. This on 9 works amazingly. It's actually really good. And if you are able to get a refinement where it's like, oh, exhaust card of this unit will be in your starting hand, or something like that. If you have an exhaust card, it will, you know, be in your starting hand. So it could work really well with 9, her Ironclad, and with the Counterblade. And I also think this could work really well with Amir, right? Because Amir's Metallization, every time she gets to shield, she hits. So imagine you got, you know, Residue Herb, you know, you're able to use it multiple times, so she's hitting multiple times, paired up with Naja's card where she could give shield times a certain amount too. So yeah, this card, don't sleep on it for 9 and Amir, honestly. Next one we're gonna get into is Forest Hunger. 300% defense based damage, exhaust all exhaust cards in hand, then plus 25% damage amount for each. It could work on a character like 9 and so on, but I think it's a skip, you know what I'm saying? You're probably not gonna want to exhaust. I mean, I guess you could exhaust Hugh if it's in early levels, right? But yeah, it would require you to have other exhaust cards, and maybe those other exhaust cards you might not want them to get exhausted. So Forest Hunger could work, but I think it will, you would have to have a certain hand in your hand, right? Next one we're gonna get into is Forgotten Grave. So this one has Ignition, Retain, Exhaust. We all should know what Retain and Exhaust is, right? But with Ignition, if this card is in hand when a card is exhausted, so it could be another card that's getting exhausted, okay? So Rays, goddamn Snack Time, Chizru's, Moon Slashes, stuff like that. Whatever card's getting exhausted, even, you know, Contaminated Spores and so on, right? Is gonna reduce the cost of this card. So it's kind of really nice because when cost of this card is decreased plus 10% critical chance to this unit, so you could build a character that doesn't have critical chance, and this will basically give it a 60% critical chance. Or you could, you know, just build a little bit of critical chance, you know, have like 40%. With the 60% here, you technically have 100, then, you know, you're probably gonna definitely crit, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, this is just really nice, you know, that 60% crit rate. Then you could probably go crit damage on the thing. Then, you know, who knows what type of numbers you could hit for with that extra, you know, crit damage, because you should definitely have over 200%. So this card, I'm pretty sure there's going to be someone out there that just does wonders with this card, and it just all of a sudden insane. So yeah, I would say don't sleep on this card for sure. Don't sleep on it, man. I think it could definitely be insane, and it's for rangers as well, which is really interesting. Like, this card's actually really interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try out a Forgotten Grave card. I want to see how this works, but I think this card has potential. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Another one, Mushroom Ammo, Bullet Exhaust, 450% damage, double the effect of Spore Propagation. So this is also one I've had my eye on too, right? The only thing I've been tripping on is that it costs 3, but if you have a whole bunch of Spore Propagations on the enemy and you use this and it doubles the effect, I do wonder if, because it does damage, like, does it like double the effect, then do its damage, then it takes away the Spore Propagation, or does it do its hit and all the Spore Propagation the enemy had, it doubles it for the next unit? That's the only thing I'm wondering about Mushroom Ammo. So this is a try in progress, so we're gonna have to wait for that. But hey, if it works the way I think it's gonna work, it could also be insane too. We also got another one with all, you know, finale and exhaust. Okay, select and activate one card in hand, draw pile or discard pile for 1 turn, right? When each of damage, shield and heal has been activated through cards, it removes the unusable and you're able to use this. So what this card basically does, it will select and activate one card in hand, draw pile or discard pile of your choice, right? So think of it as a Joker of Cassius, right? But in a turn, you're gonna have to use a DPS card, a card that does shield, and a card that does healing. So that's the only thing to be able to activate it. And it doesn't have retain as well. If it had retain, maybe it could be even a bit more nicer. But it does mean once you get this card, you're gonna have to somehow be able to do all 3 of those things. And I do believe it has to be cards. Yeah, it says it activated through cards, so your ego skills won't work. But you know, this is not bad if you're able to do it. But I don't know. It really depends what team you're using and what cards you got, right? Then next here we have Nature's Gift, Exhaust, heal 20% for each card in hand. Harmonization, create 1 contaminated spore for each card in hand. So harmonization is if the cost of this card, which is 1, and action points are identical, activate the card. So it will activate the card for you basically, right? And you will get a contaminated spore for each card in hand, which could also be very nice, right? But yeah, this is okay one. I don't think it's one I'm really gonna be putting in my deck. But if you've got a healer and you're running through your chaos and you're not like making a specific build for that healer, maybe just throwing this card on them, you know, just to make your run smoother could work for sure. Okay, and that was it for the cards of season 2. So now we have monster cards. Okay, Vine Lord, really nice, especially if you got a unit that has exhaust cards. So someone like a freaking what's her name, Ray, could work with Ray. Obviously it works with a very limited amount of characters because you have to have, you know, exhaust cards, but it could be nice, it could work. Cyborg Automation, really love this with 9. It's just really fun, right? It has a big percentage, and the Incinerate, an effect that is activated when this card is exhausted. So you don't actually have to use this card for it to be exhausted. You could use 9's Fighting Spirit if you don't have your Hue in hand. and you could obviously use cards like Raise Snack Time to exhaust it, and it will activate, of course. Then you've got Rocket Punch, which is nice, you know what I'm saying, because it does good amount of damage. It has Retain, but it has plus 25% activation chance and has a plus 25% chance to activate this. Okay, yeah, but whatever, right? It could do some nice damage. You know, Pierce, I really like, because if you could get this on a support character and you use this every time, because I believe the way how this one works is every odd turn you get this Pierce card. So yeah, it does good damage. It gives Vulnerable, Weaken, Agony. And the reason why I really like this, because number one, the Vulnerable, and I believe there is a refinement where it's like 50% critical chance to targets that are weakened. So if you have that on your DPS unit, all of a sudden you're doing some very, very good damage, because now you got that crit chance up. You should definitely crit. So this is really just nice, you know. Vulnerable, you're always gonna do some nice damage. Shield Blast, really liking my Chaos runs. Outside of it, I don't think I really actually have this, but it is pretty nice. You know, I think if you got a defense-based character, it could do very good damage. You know, it's not a bad card. It costs 0 at the end of the day. Is an exhaust, which could help with other factors. It is pretty nice. You know, Heavy Blow, 200% damage, double the effect of Vulnerable. When I saw this, I thought it was actually gonna make Vulnerable by 100%, and it lasts for 2 turns. That's what I thought when it's a double, but I don't know if when it hits, it does double like the damage taken, and it just does it itself because it does damage. I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird. Charge Strike is whatever, and yeah, that's really it for the cards of season 2. We're gonna get into equipment. So here we have Veiled Thorn. If allies do not receive damage for 1 turn, then at the start of next turn, increase damage amount by 50%. Very, very, very big amount. First I thought, could shields work? I don't know. Really hard to test these type of things, to be honest, man, because of the numbers. Like, yeah. But I do believe, I guess if you just don't get hit, then this card activates basically. But yeah, it's just annoying. With it's like sometimes like they just need to explain the things a bit more thoroughly. Like they need like something else that just like really explains what cards do. You know, here we have a defense piece. When shield is gained, increased damage amount of the next 1 attack card activated by 20% for 1 turn, 2 times per turn. So it's pretty nice. So that's why I was talking about that Residue Herb card, because number 1, it costs 0, right? And number 2, you could activate a whole bunch of times, so you'll be able to activate the 2 times per turn on this card. Then all of a sudden, you know, whatever character could do good damage with their attack card now, you know what I'm saying, because it will be by 40%, right? So this could work really well with shield units, of course, and the Residue Herb card. Here we have when 3 cards of 2 costs or higher are used, Stockpile. So Stockpile, retain AP on effective activation, right? So it will basically give you AP. It is 3 cards that you have to use, but it does work really nicely, especially if you've got a whole bunch of Fighting Spirits, or if you're outside of Chaos and you're fighting something else and you've got a whole bunch of Fighting Spirits, because you're going to be able to activate Hue multiple times, you're going to get the Stockpile a lot more quicker. So it is a nice little one. Okay, this one's insane, especially on Olea and probably other characters as well. So it doubles the effect of Spore Propagation on the 6th attack card created. So, you know, just think of people that could create cards. Chizuru, 9, and I'm not gonna lie, after that my mind goes blank. But yeah, this could also just be insane, because you're doubling the effect, which means you're gonna do a lot more damage, especially if you're able to put a ton of Spore Propagation on the enemy beforehand. It could be insane. Here, when a 3 cost or higher card is activated, 1 vulnerable, obviously Vulture Ejection and Hue, right? That's probably what we could think of off the bat. It's nice, 1 vulnerable, of course, but I do think there's better weapons for 9. But yeah, this is a very good one. So if you get it, it's cool. At the start, this is really good. At the start of turn, if health is 30% or less, 1 evade 2 times per battle. So the reason why this is really good is because it's just going to simply help you survive, you know. So yeah, it's just really good. It's really nice. It's nice, especially on the support characters, I would say. Moss Armor, when an ally attack card was not activated for 1 turn and the turn is ended, 100% fixed shield. So you could put this on your DPS characters, right? Because on your DPS characters, you're probably using their attack cards. so obviously it's going to trigger because you're not using the allies attack card, so you could get the shield. Plant though, when 4 skill cards are exhausted, decrease stress by of a random ally by 1. I'm not gonna lie, never put this on any of my characters. We got Harp of Conflict. I don't think I've ever actually got this. For 1 turn, when each damage, shield and heal has been activated through cards for 1 turn, so you actually have to do all of this in 1 turn, has been activated through cards by allies. That works well with that card, right? Increase damage amount of allies by 15% for 1 turn. So I don't know, if you're able to do this and it's all 0 cost stuff, then you could, you know, just give that extra damage for 1 turn to your DPS allies and it could work well. So maybe this on a support character, and if you're able to just do this, damage, shield and heal, it could work really well. Victor's Laurel, increase damage amount, okay, by counter attack. Pretty simple. Characters that can counter attack are gonna love this. Simple as that. When 5 skill cards are created, increase damage amount of the next ally card activated by 20%. So any character that could obviously create skill cards is going to increase your DPS ally card by 20%, which I think is really nice. If you're able to do a lot of these things within a turn and just give that additional damage, I think it could be insane. Obviously the creating 5 skill cards is probably going to be the hard point, but I think this works on like characters like what's the name again, Olea and stuff, right? 5 skill cards are created. But yeah, when shield is gained 3 times through cards, 100% fixed damage to enemies. Pretty simple. I think it's okay. It's just, how many times are you really, you know, gaining shield, you know, for this to trigger? If you was able to gain shield 3 times in a turn, every turn, then yeah, this 100% fixed damage could be, you know, kind of nice, you know, on like a support character or something. When 4 attack cards are activated, increase damage amount on the next attack card. Very nice. I do like this. Obviously, just like activating that many attack cards could be hard, but you know who I think this could work on? Like Chizuru, right? If you've got a whole bunch of create moon slashes in your hand, like you don't even need a whole bunch. You just need like 2 of them, right? You activate 2 of them. Now you've got 4 attack cards, right? And you pop all 4 of them off. Now the 5th attack card you use is gonna be, you know, increased by 40%. Then, you know, you just use whatever card and you're gonna do some good damage. So it will definitely work with characters that could pop off a lot of attack cards. Not Chizuru, Serennial as well, right? Anyone that has low cost that could pop a whole bunch off, it could work really well. And I don't think this is turn limited, so you don't have to do it the way how I'm saying it. But I think if you want to get the most out of it, if you're able to activate 5 cards a turn, this is going to be really nice. Next one, we got Arm of Lost Valor. When an attack card was not activated for 1 turn and turn is ended, create 1 rocket punch, and that's just one of these cards. So there are some gear pieces that do give those cards that we're going over early, which is cool. You know, maybe it could help with your runs, making it easier if you give this to characters that you're not building. But yeah, outside of that, I don't know. I like this one. This is the one I like. The Pierce, the 1 vulnerable, weaken, agony. As I said, the vulnerable is going to make you do more damage. The weaken has there's a refinement out there that gives you crit chance to enemies that are weakened. This could, you know, help pop this off. So I really like this on my support characters, you know, because the vulnerable, I mean, why wouldn't you take it? You know, it's going to make your DPS do more damage. If damage is completely blocked, shield blast, really nice. Maybe if you're running like some Vanguard team, this could be insane, you know, especially if all 3 of them had it. Imagine you just get 3 shield blasts every turn because the shield you're doing is so much and you're just able to pop all of them off. It could go crazy. Here we got Heavy Blow, another one which I just think is whatever. Charge Strike. Oh, what is Charge Strike again? Why does Charge Strike not let you see what it is? But yeah, I don't know, whatever, right? Here we got Brilliant Eternal Flame. Increase damage amount of 2 cost or higher exhaust cards by 40%. Obviously tailor-made for 9. Okay, amazing for 9. So if you're able to get it, amazing, but it does mean you'll get 1 less copy, because I believe this pops up in an event where you either choose a copy or you choose this. So at that time it's just up to you, but I don't know, maybe choosing this over the copy could be cool. You know, free fighting spirits with you is fine, honestly. Liberate Essence at the start of turn, decrease cost of 1 random exhaust card in hand for 1 turn. I wonder if this stacks. Like if you had it on 2 different allies, that would be insane to see if it will stack. But yeah, at the start of turn, decrease cost of one random exhaust card. It is random, so if you do have other exhaust cards, it could mess up. But if Hugh is the only exhaust card you have, this could be amazing. Especially if you got like the refinements that give you AP when you use a certain card and stuff like that. Yeah. Pale Eternal Flame. When a card is exhausted, increase damage amount of allies by 10%. Could be really good for support units. Robe of Oblivion. When shield is gained through an exhaust card, increase damage amount by 20% for 1 turn. Really nice. As I said, Residue Herb card. I told you guys, don't sleep on it, man. So this could also buff up your damage with that card. When drawing an exhaust card through an ally ability, 80% fixed shield. Pretty nice. As I said, okay, they both have defense. If this was like health and this was like defense, I was gonna say you could actually pair those equipments up, but yeah. Increase heal amount by 25%. Obviously your characters that heal. When a card is exhausted, increase damage amount by 10%. Really nice. At the start of turn, if an ally exhaust card is in hand, 60% fixed shield. So you guys can see there's so many ways to get fixed shield as well. That could trigger a lot of other things. At start of battle, decrease stress, increase damage of third attack card created by 30%. Really nice. The blue ones are just like kind of whatever, but if you're able to get them early on in the chaos run, they're definitely going to help you. And yeah, that's really it for all the cards and equipments of season 2. And I think we went over which ones are the good ones and which ones are not. But yeah, some really good cards, and you can see there's some cards that work well with certain equipments and certain equipments that work really well with certain cards. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Like, subscribe, run up. Catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.